Somebody asked me, um, who do you think you've heard the most wisdom come from? One person, actual human, not Jesus, Yeshua, or God, or a biblical scholar. Let's stay away from religion. Who do you think has given the world the most truth? And it can't have anything to do with spiritual matter. And I thought about it. I said, there's only one. There's only one. I mean, I have a lot of people that I respect. Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro. But one name came into my head. And I looked at him and I said, Randy Pausch. And I said, who? And I said, well, do you remember that viral thing that went around about a decade ago, before he died? Randy Pausch, the last lecture. That's who had the most truth, had the most right. And they said, well, give us some examples. I said, all right. I'll give you 20. He nailed absolutely everything. I challenge you to go on YouTube and punch in the last lecture given by Randy Pausch at Carnegie Mellon University. The last lecture was a tradition at Carnegie Mellon where they would pick one special speaker to address the senior class that was graduating before they went out into the world for the year. Every year they do this. Randy Pausch, he knocked it out of the park. And he was on his deathbed. I guess things get real clear before you die. And I watched the whole lecture and I dissected it. And I can't find one untruth. I can't find one thing that he said that wasn't the most insightful piece of information I ever got. And I try to model myself by him every day. It's not what you're handed. It's how you use it. Please look up the last lecture. I'd like you all to see it. It's free. It's about 40-45 minutes when you cut out the introduction speaker that brings him up. The guy talks forever. When Randy gave this speech, I think he had about 6 months to live. You'd never know it. He looked healthier than you and me. He looked happier than you and me. And he was going to be leaving a wife and children. But when you watch him, you realize he's happy. He's very happy. He's happier. He was happier than most of us. And unlike us, he saw things clearly for what they were. And he was not afraid. And not any of his speech had to do with the afterlife, had to do with God, had to do with anything that was maybe going to be handed to him for being a good person and living his life right. It all had to do with the here and now and what he was able to do with his life while he was here, and the people that he could touch and help and change. Sounds pretty holy to me. So I challenge you to go listen to his lecture on YouTube, and please comment on what you thought. I'm interested in your opinion. There was one quote that he said in the interview. He said, you just need to ask yourself, are you a Tigger or are you an Eeyore? You are what you put out, and you reap what you put out. We have to try to be better. Please watch the interview, dissect it, and tell me what you think was your favorite piece of advice and what fit for you. But mostly tell me what you thought of the surprise at the end of the lecture. I thought the end was perfect. There's nothing wrong with pointing out the inconsistencies and the flaws in today's world. But if that's all we do, and we don't actually apply any energy and time into changing it and making it what we want it to be, what good is the complaining? Complaining only makes the problem come into light to others. And if all they do is complain, well then you just have a lot of people complaining, but nobody's doing anything about it. How about we do less complaining and we do more to change what we're complaining about? And I hear a lot of instances out there of people complaining about this and complaining about that, this is declining and that is declining. All right. Well, now that you've let your feelings be heard, instead of screaming from the top of the mountaintop how much you hate something, why don't you do something about it? But how do I change it? Well, the same thought process that you use to come up with your argument about what you don't like or hate, use that same thought process and energy into coming up with a solution. If you are so informed about what is wrong with the world, that means that you're saying that, well, you don't agree and you're not part of the problem. So it should be very easy for you to then say how it should be and to set forth goals on how to change that. See, I hear a whole lot of complaining, but I don't see any doing. But that isn't surprising, because it's easy to complain about something. It's a lot harder to put in the work to change it. To sit back and criticize and complain, that's easy. Anybody can do that. It takes a person that's really passionate about something and actually believes in it to put energy into changing it. They will get criticism. They will undoubtedly suffer socially because they go against the popular opinion. But if you really care about it that much, why do you care? I see all the things that are wrong with this world. Horrible things. And then I see a selected few people that actually come forward with ideas on how to fix it. And these same people that complain about how much they hate what this person wants to change, they criticize the person on their way of changing the problem rather than being part of the solution. I guess it's easy to criticize instead of actually putting in the work. That's why I like Randy Pausch. He could have used his speech to break people down and dictate what they were doing wrong. But he didn't. He used what he believed in to better everyone in that room and everyone that watched that video. He did something positive with it. That's what we need to do. We need to take something that we hate and find positive ways to implement change. That actually makes a difference. Complaining just spreads helplessness and a depressed, oh, woe is me, what are we going to do? And the way to change the problem doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to go in the right direction. Some progress is better than no progress. And complaining, that just makes the problem known. If you're so passionate about what you're complaining about, why don't you give some practical solutions and ideas that you'd like to implement to change it and spread that instead? You have to have both. Otherwise, you're just a complainer. Otherwise, you're part of the problem. In fact, I would argue to say that if you're not doing anything to change it, it must not be very important to you. And it doesn't have to be anything drastic. It just has to be a step in the right direction. If each of us only take a couple steps in the right direction on an issue that is wronging people, wronging the world, and cheating others out of their freedoms and their happiness and their well-being, if all of us make a couple steps in the right direction because we care about the problem, well, last time I checked, I think we're just a hair over 7 billion people on this earth. And if most of us know where we should be, why are there still problems? I guess we have more complainers than we do of people that actually care enough about the problem to implement those 2 steps. Do you see what I mean? Comes down to that saying that I heard when I was a teenager. You say this is important to you? Put up or shut up. Words are words. Actions actually change things. Think about that. Think about what's important to you and how you want the world to be. And then come up with some ideas on how to get us there. They don't have to work. But I guarantee that if you have every good person on this earth brainstorming those same ideas, we'll find something that works. Let's be a part of the solution and not part of, well, the complaining that doesn't get us anywhere. I think we, the good people of this earth, know what direction we need to go in. We all know right from wrong. So let's quit talking about it and do it. Start implementing change in your life and in the lives of people around you. Then there'll be a whole lot more positive things in your life than negativity. Complaining is a negative emotion because it's caused by negative action. Positive action That's going to bring positivity into your life. It's going to bring meaning. And it'll help you to see truth. Just a thought. Let me know what you think. Because I'm looking out into the world and I see a whole lot of complaining. But I don't see any doing, except from a very selective few compared to how many people are on this earth. I don't see a lot of people trying. I see a lot of people saying, well, I can't speak up, because if I speak up, I'll be judged. I'll be hated. I'll be ostracized. I'll be criticized. I guess my question to you is why do you care? Everybody likes to be loved and liked by others. It's kind of built into us. No one likes to be hated or disliked. But if you stand up against the world, the part of the world that doesn't have morals, you will be loved and liked by those who do have morals. So let's quit trying to appease those that have no standards, no morals, or will to make this world a better place, and start appeasing to the people that actually care, like us, that have the moral voice from God of what is right and what is wrong, what should be changed and what should not be changed. Let us find common ground and fight. No more complaining. Actually changing. But I don't know if this will actually take off, because there's a lot more work in changing than there is complaining. Complaining is easy. You can do that in a half hour of every day or in every conversation that you have when you have the time. Complaining is simple. Doing, that takes planning, organization, thought process, and action to carry out. It means reaching out to others and communicating to them to do the same. It's a lot of work. And we all know what the world is like when it comes to work nowadays. Path of least resistance. Well, you have to ask yourself then this: who do I have to blame for the world that I live in then, when I do my complaining? Maybe I have myself to blame because of that path that I take, either out of fear or laziness. Makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe the good people of this earth only have themselves to blame for not standing up to the bad apples that have gotten into the bunch, for shutting up when we shouldn't have, for choosing to be ostracized and hated for something that is good and true and will help others. I think I'm to that point. Are you? Let me know what you think. I'm really curious at what you guys think of this video. I'm not trying to break anybody down. I'm trying to lift people up. And I I get comments like super Christian. Hey, he's trying to act like he's better than us. No. I'm trying to wake you up. Because the people that truly follow God, I believe in. People keep saying, why doesn't God do anything for, to help the world in the direction that it's going? Maybe he is giving miracles, ideas, people that are courageous enough to speak out when we are too much of a coward to agree with their truth. Maybe we're the problem. Because being ostracized by society, by our jobs, by our families, are more important to us than changing what we complain about. My father, there's not much I took from him that I use now. My biological father. One thing I did take from him were a few lessons. He was at least moral. And he said, why do you keep trying to appease these people in your life when you know that they don't like you? And I said, because I want to be liked. This was when I was younger. And I said, it bothers me what they think of me. I want them to like me. Like every kid does. He said, well, I'll tell you what, you will be a lot happier and you will have a lot more energy to do other things if you quit caring what those people think of you. Who cares? If they don't like you, tell them to go away and find someone who does. Now, if they have a legitimate complaint of why they don't like you, and it's something that you need to change, well then, change that. But if it's simply because you are you, then go away. Because if you don't like me for who I am, and you can't state an obvious reason of something that I should change, well then you're a negative influence in my life, and there's no reason for you to be there. So go away. And fill your life with people that are going to uplift you. Now that's not to say that you can be who you want to be, and the world just has to like it, flaws and all. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you are putting out nothing but good and being ostracized for it because it doesn't meet the popular belief of the world, to hell with them. Be hated. At least you can be hated and not be a hypocrite about what you believe. When you fold to what you believe in to be liked by a world that believes the opposite and has no morals, you're worse than they are. because you preach against it. Makes sense, doesn't it? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But in case you were wondering, that's why I am very blunt with what I say and how I say it. Because it's what I believe, and I don't see any negativity in it. All I see is truth. Most people say, I just want people to tell me the truth. No, you don't. You want people to tell you the truth that you want to hear, not the actual truth. You want your version of what truth should be for you. I'm not going to do that. And other people shouldn't either, because that gives you a false sense that you are right when you're not. And if we don't care about each other enough to correct each other in where we are wrong, a society like we live in now exists. Reach out to me and let me know what you think. Kind of complex thought for 6:29 a.m. Huh? I don't like the world that we live in now, but I know what it could be. We just quit worrying about being hated, being outed, and being disliked, and we actually just did the right thing because it's the right thing to do, the world wouldn't be what it is. But apparently not enough people have gotten pissed off enough that they're willing to, well, make the sacrifice to actually speak the truth. And I wonder if it'll even get to that point before this world is too far gone to change. I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's all up to you. You don't have to move the world. You just got to take a couple steps. Tell me what you think your couple steps should be, and I'll tell you mine in the comment section. And you need to subscribe because there's going to be lots more videos. Because I won't let God's truth be silenced. And we all know what the real truth is when we hear it. We just don't always like it. Truth doesn't change to appease to the masses. Sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. But we respect it because at least it's honest. Think about this today and get back to me on the comment section. I want to hear from you. You guys have a blessed day.